ज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 5, text number 17. Et atmahano shanta ajnane jnanamanina siddhanti akrita kritya vai कालध्वस्त मनोरथः। एत आत्महनो शान्ता अज्ञाने ज्ञानमानिना सिदन्ति अकृतकृत्या वै कालध्वस्त मनोरथः। एत आत्महनो शशान्त अज्ञाने ज्ञानमानिना सिदन्ति अकृतकृत्या वै कालध्वस्ता मनोरथः। एत आत्महनो शान्त अज्ञाने ज्ञानमानिना सिदन्ति अकृतकृत्या वै कालध्वस्तमनोरथः. Word to word translation. Ete, these, Atmahanaha, killers of the self, Ashantaha, devoid of peace, Ajnane, in ignorance, Jnanamanina, presuming to have knowledge, Siddhanti, they suffer, Akrita, failing to perform, Akrityaha, their duty, Vai, indeed, Kala, by time, Dvasta, destroyed, Manorathaha, their fanciful desires. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The killers of the souls are never peaceful because they consider that human intelligence is ultimately meant for expanding material life. Thus, neglecting their real spiritual duties, they are always in distress. They are filled with great hopes and dreams, but unfortunately, these are always destroyed by the inevitable march of the time. Purport. There is a similar verse in Sri Ishopanishad 3. Asurya namate loka andhena tamasavrata tamste prityabhigachanti yeke cha atmahano janaha. The killer of the soul, whoever he may be, must enter into the planet known as the worlds of the faithless, full of darkness and ignorance. Text number 18. Hitvatma maya rachita grihapatya suritstriyah tamo vishanti anichanto vasudeva paranmukha. Translation and purport. Those who have turned away from the Supreme Lord Vasudeva, being under the spell of the Lord's illusory energy, are eventually forced to give up their so-called homes, children, friends, wives and lovers, which were all created by the illusory potency of the Supreme Lord, and enter against their will into the darkest regions of the universe. Purport. The living entity turns his back on the Supreme Person of Godhead and tries instead to enjoy temporary sense gratification. The result is simply anxiety as the conditioned soul struggles to maintain his temporary wife, children, friends, home, nation, etc. Finally, all of these things are taken away, and the bewildered soul, in great frustration, sometimes tries to take shelter of an impersonal concept of God and liberation. Thus, the conditioned soul is always in ignorance, either pursuing illusory sense gratification or trying to avoid sense gratification by merging into the impersonal aspect of the Lord called Brahman. But the actual position of the living entity is to serve the Supreme Person who is his master. And unless one gives up one's inimical feelings toward the Supreme Person of Godhead, there is no question of peace or happiness. Krishna Bhakta Nishkama Ateva Shanta Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakali Ashanta. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 5th chapter, where Narad Muni is instructing Lord Krishna's father Vasudeva in the aspect of performing devotional service. So in these two verses, the tragedy of misuse intelligence and the illusion of material attachment has been discussed. Now, what is the meaning of misused intelligence? Here in this verse, it is said that those who use their intelligence only for expanding material enjoyment are called Atmahanaha, or the killer of the soul. Now, who are the killer of the souls? Now, soul cannot be killed, but it is said that those whose life goal is just to advance in material prosperity, if that is the goal of life, these are nothing but the killer of the souls. The reason is that Prabhupada gave this wonderful example of a person who is having a parrot. He loved the parrot and he kept the parrot in a golden cage. And he used to take care of that golden cage very nicely. Always used to clean that golden cage, but never used to feed the parrot in the cage. He considered the golden cage to be more important than the parrot inside the cage. And slowly, because he didn't feed the soul or he didn't feed the parrot and just kept on taking care of the cage, one day the parrot died. Similarly, if we just take care of the body and doesn't take care of the soul, one day the soul will perish in terms of its consciousness. And if the soul gets perished in terms of consciousness, naturally it will glide down to the hellish situation of life. And that is called killer of the soul. An example can be given. After much endeavor, I was giving this example to some of the college going students. So I was just saying that you have come here after long endeavor, after studying very hard, spent lot of money, and you are endeavoring yourself to get some wonderful degree here. But if you immerse yourself in the materialistic enjoyment of the Western society, then what will happen? The very purpose for your coming here will get spoiled. Because a person came here after so much endeavor, so much labor and spending a lot of money. But after coming here, if he is not utilizing the time for what he is supposed to do, and rather he just engross himself in temporary enjoyment, then he is actually spoiling his own life by the purpose for which he is here. He is not fulfilling that. That means he is killing his ambitions. That's why similarly, after millions of births, we have been provided with this human form of life. And if we still doesn't take proper care of this opportunity, doesn't utilize this facility, and just simply engage ourselves in materialistic way of life, then naturally the soul will again glide down into the hellish situation of life. Prabhupada says there are 84 lakh species of life. And the biggest danger in this material world is gliding down to the lowest species. Going back into this chakra of again birth and death is foolishness. This human form of life is an opportunity to get out of the cycle. But if we don't use this opportunity and do the same thing which we have done in many previous lifetimes, then what is the point of getting this human form of life? We are as good as two-legged animals. That's how Prabhupada criticizes those people who plans material enjoyment. They just want to expand their material life. And that's why it is so important for a devotees to deliver such kind of people, to help this kind of people. In Maharashtra, in India, there was a very big saint called Sant Tukaram. In his writings, he writes, "बुडती हे जन न देखवे डोळा, मनोनी कुरबळा येतसे." Meanings that these people are drowning into the abyss of material sense enjoyment. They are drowning in that. They don't realize it. They're drowning in this material lifestyle. And saintly people cry after seeing that things. They cannot tolerate the misery of these people. Even the externalities, it appears that they are enjoying, but factually speaking, they are suffering miserably. So Tukaram Maharaj says, the saintly people cannot see this, and that's why they endeavor to deliver this conditioned soul. So Srila Prabhupada is trying to do the same thing, as we have seen in his wonderful pastimes. Yesterday was disappearance day of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. We see all of our parampara acharyas, they have worked only on this one goal. Otherwise, what is their need to get out of their seclusion and go into the city for preaching? Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur was chanting 192 rounds per day. He chanted it for 10 years sitting in Mayapur. He is completely engrossed in his bhajan. But why he came out, went to Calcutta? What was the need? Factually speaking, there was no need. But it is a natural tendency of a devotee to feel compassionate for the miseries of the conditioned soul. They don't realize it that they are miserable, but the devotees or the saintly people, they understand their miseries. Srila Prabhupada used to give the example of a camel. Camel eats thorny bushes, and he feels it is so tasty, but it is not the taste of the thorn, it is the taste of its own blood. He is tasting it, and he considers that thorns to be tasty thing. Similarly, the people in this material world are suffering. Factually, they are suffering. They don't realize that they are suffering. They think they are enjoying, but for the real situation is that they are enjoying their own miserable situation. They don't realize it. So it is a duty of every living entity to spread this message of Krishna consciousness. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in his first meeting with Srila Prabhupada, gave the instruction, you are intelligent, educated young boys. Please spread this message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Why he said like this to Prabhupada? In one of the interview with one of the Prabhupada's god brother, he said that it was not that only Prabhupada was given this instruction to spread Krishna consciousness in English language around the world. Many devotees, many disciples of Bhakti Saraswati Thakur were being instructed with the same instruction. But it was Srila Prabhupada who took it to its life and soul. Whereas others thought, maybe this is not the right time, maybe I am not good enough, maybe I will do my sadhana more nicely, and then when I become purified, then I will go and preach. And in that way, they have, uh, in one sense, they have uh, passed their time in that thought. But Srila Prabhupada, he took this message very seriously. Even after almost 40 years, he took the message. He was considering, I am such a lazy person. Prabhupada is condemning himself. And I am such a lazy person that I didn't immediately follow the instruction of my Guru Maharaj. I spoiled my 40 years of life. That was his actually the humility that he said in that way. But factually speaking, Prabhupada was always contemplating. Even though he was having a responsibility with his family, with his children, he was having his own business, but still he was always contemplating how to spread this message. And even as a Grahastha householder, he used to help the devotees in their preaching mission. We know when Prabhupada was living in Calcutta, he used to support and help the brahmacharis from Gaudiya Math for preaching mission. There used to be a house program at Prabhupada home, and in that home, Prabhupada used to invite brahmacharis, and Prabhupada used to arrange all the necessary like prasadam, kirtan, lecture arrangement. He used to bring his the colleagues, the relatives, the neighborhood people. He used to bring all of them. So Prabhupada was bringing everyone, requesting everyone. So that is how Prabhupada used to help in preaching activity. So in that way, the thing used to go. Sometimes when some brahmachari doesn't used to come for some program on some weekend, on some weekdays, whenever they were having a weekly program, Prabhupada himself used to speak, but he never missed any program. So in that way, Prabhupada showed even from his Grahastha life that how he was taking preaching activity so seriously. So in this verse, Atma Hanaha, the killer of the soul, are those who doesn't wish to elevate their consciousness to the higher level. Rather, they just simply engross themselves in materialistic way of life. And Srila Prabhupada is condemning them that they will never attain peace. Such people never attain peace, and all their plans are destroyed by Kala or time. So in this connection, I would like to share one wonderful story, that those who considers material way of life is the only goal, Prabhupada says, such people never attain peace, and all their plans are destroyed by time. I remember one person whom since the very beginning of my Krishna consciousness, we were requesting him to come to devotional life, to come to the satsang program, come for participate in spiritual activities. But he was saying that, oh, my children are now getting education, they will need lot of money for education, so let me first perform my responsibility, and later when I get time I will do that. And slowly the children are growing up, and of course the children perform very or excel very nicely in their education. So he was very much thinking, oh, now my children are nicely educated, very smart, and he sent their kids abroad for studies, higher studies, and he was working very hard, almost like foaming to his mouth, working 10 hours, 12 hours daily just to earn money so that he can support the educations of his kids. And in that way, he completely forgot that there is a need for spiritual activity in the life. At the end, when he got retired, he thought, now let me make up for what I have lost in all those years. He was sharing that I spent whole of my life earning money and hardly spend any time with my family members. But now I have so much time, but there are no family members. Why? Because kids are now settled abroad, and wife, who was his companion, left her body, and this person is alone in a big house. He made a big house thinking that in my old age I will have a good family. I will have all my grandsons living with me, all my daughter-in-laws, my son, everyone will stay together in this big house. But now in this old age now he's alone in the whole house because everybody left. Wife also left. Children also left. Children says, you take care of yourself, we will send money to you, don't worry. So in that way he was just lamenting his situation. So people make so much plans. They think that not now, later. Not now, later. I will perform bhakti, not now, later. But what happens? Such people never attain peace. All their plans are destroyed by time. As we see this. So, Srila Prabhupada is trying to say in this context that it is Maya, the illusion, which keeps a person. Because in the next verse it says that those who turn away from Vasudeva become bound by Maya's creation. Family, home, society, and at death, everything is forcibly removed and he enters into darkness. Everything is removed from him. Whatever he was attached to, let's say he was attached to his home, he was attached to his family members, but at the time of death, everything is forcibly removed. He cannot save himself at that time. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that Prabhupada gives one wonderful, some wonderful anecdotes he is having, that in Bombay, when he was meeting with an very wealthy businessman, Prabhupada said, "Oh, you big businessman, you have built a huge skyscrapers. You have built a huge skyscrapers, and even ants are building ant hills. So what is the difference? You are building skyscrapers, ants are also building their own skyscrapers. So what is the difference between you and the ants? But at least ant know that it is going to destroy sometime, after some time. But you think that this will continue to remain my whole life, and you spend lot of money and energy just to keep it steady in your life." So Srila Prabhupada was condemning. He was not condemning the what to say, taking care of the people or the family members. He was condemning the attachment the people are having to their things. So that here Prabhupada is condemning. So Prabhupada says that if a human being is utilizing his intelligence just for animalistic way of life, then he is spoiling his intelligence. It is just like you have a big gun with you and you are using that gun for killing a mosquito. Is it a proper use of the gun? Never. It has to be used for a specific purpose. Similarly, human being is provided with an intelligence of understanding spiritual consciousness. But if he doesn't utilize that intelligence for spiritual understanding, rather he uses the intelligence for his material lifestyle, then he is actually misusing the intelligence. So Prabhupada says it is just like an polished animal life, nothing else. So after condemning so many people, so many materialistic people, now there is one more understanding. Does devotees also get entrapped in this? Of course. devotees also get entrapped. What is the proof? The proof is in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The story of King Bharat. Bharat Maharaj was a very elevated devotee of the Lord. And he gave up everything. He gave up all his kingdom, everything, and came to the secluded place to perform his devotional life. But at some point of time, he got attached to a deer. And because of that deer, he had to get another body of a deer. Similarly, as a devotee, we might have given everything up. We might have given our comfortable family life. We must have given up our ambitious lifestyle just to practice devotional service, thinking that devotional service is my goal. But even while practicing bhakti, sometimes we may get attached to certain things. And that attachment can be anything. In the name of Krishna consciousness, we may get attached to petty things. That small deer which Bharat Maharaj got attached, he was just thinking, oh, let me help that deer. Let me help. He is such a kind, a devotee must be compassionate. Let me help this deer. But slowly that deer took away the consciousness from Krishna towards itself. Slowly Bharat Maharaj stopped practicing his bhakti. He gave up his sadhana eventually and was just focused on taking care of the deer. Similarly, as a devotees, we may also get entrapped in such kind of deer. Now, who is that deer? We have to find ourselves. Sometimes that deer can be your preaching activity. Sometimes that deer can be your family members. Sometimes that deer can be your own ambitious project of spreading Krishna consciousness. Anything. Deer can be anyone. Any form of attachment you are having is a deer. That small deer takes away your Krishna consciousness. Everybody have their own deer. So we have to be very careful. Otherwise we will have to take birth again. So that is the story of Bharat Maharaj. Also, there is something called as Prabhupada gave one example of a hotel room. Prabhupada says, imagine you check into a luxury hotel room and then you decorate it, rearrange it, hangs photo, buy curtains. But the next morning, the hotel staff knocks at your door and says, sir, it's checkout time, please get out. Similarly, we are staying in this world, decorating our rooms. Sometimes we see devotees decorate their rooms a lot. And sometimes they become so attached to their rooms that if it is asked that we have to vacate the room, they feel so uncomfortable. The reason is that the tendency to get attached to the comforts is so natural for a conditioned soul that he cannot imagine how to live outside of it. Yesterday, I was just discussing with one of the devotee. I was just asking, Prabhu, I am not seeing you for some time. You are not coming for programs now. I said, Prabhu, there's such a snow is coming, and it was so difficult to travel. It is so difficult to drive the car on the road, and it's so cold outside. So that's why I skipped some of the programs. But yesterday I thought, let me visit at least once in a while. So I was just thinking that a person gives so many excuses for coming for a program, but if the same thing happens for some family functions or have to go to some other place, the same snow, the same road, the same car, they will not have that difficulty, because that is priority, that is important thing. So the excuses one gives is because of the comfort level we are used to. We have to ask ourselves that whether we are getting attached to the comforts of our home, our situation. If that is the thing, then it will be difficult for us to practice bhakti again. Srila Prabhupada once gave this example. This is one more example of a mirage in a desert. He gave the example of a mirage of material dreams. Just like when a person is lost in the desert, so he feels very thirsty because of the such a hot desert area. But at a long distance he thinks, oh, there is a water there, and he runs for water. But he realizes, oh, where is the water now? So again he sees, oh, the water is more ahead, and he continues to run after that water, but there is no water. It is just a mirage, it is just an illusion. Similarly, in this material world, Prabhupada says, a material world is a mirage of material dreams. You think, if I get this, then I will become happy. If I get that, then I will be successful. But that never happens. This material world is made in such a way to frustrate our all ambitions. Similarly, in the world of a devotional life, the devotees also gets entrapped into the same understanding. He starts thinking, oh, if I get this, then I can practice bhakti nicely. If I can get that, then I can able to preach nicely. But it doesn't happen like that. Whatever you have to start practicing bhakti or preaching activity or seva in whatever situation you are in. Don't wait for the situation to become favorable. This material world will never allow to make the situation favorable. It will never allow. That is how this material world is. So whatever situation we are in, immediately take up to the process of devotional service. Don't wait that in future, when the situation is more favorable, in future when I will have enough time, or in future if I have enough resources, then I will do bhakti, then I will do preaching, then I will do more seva. This will never happen. Start practicing now. That is what Prabhupada is trying to say. So material hopes are like that. Their dreams are crushed by time, Prabhupada says. So Prabhupada gave one more example of a Gajendra. Sometimes we keep so much faith, so much dependency on external things, like we have insurance, medical insurance, family members, children, so many things we keep as a support for us. But he gives example of a Gajendra, the story of Gajendra from Srimad Bhagavatam. So Gajendra was king of elephants. He was strong, proud, and supported by family. But when the crocodile of time caught him, no wife, no children, no friend could save him. Nobody came to save him. But he just cried, "O Krishna, O Adhokshaja," and Krishna came to save him. Similarly, in this material world, we tend to take shelter of so many things other than Krishna, like our abilities. We take shelter of our abilities. We take shelter of so-called medical insurance. We take shelter of our family members, our bank balance, our saving accounts. We take so much shelter to so many things, thinking that in the need of emergency, this will help me. But when the time comes, you realize that nothing is going to help me. And at that time, we realize it is Krishna only who can help me. Even Draupadi was helpless. And he was thinking, oh, I have five husbands. They will protect me. But when the time came, nobody was able to help her. She thought, I have elders of my family. But when the time came, none of the elders could save her. And in the last, she thought, if nobody is helping me, I will try to help myself on my own. With my own strength, I will protect myself. But when the time came, her own strength was meager, was useless. So at that time, she gave up everything and just surrendered to Krishna. And Krishna came to protect her. Similarly, as a devotee, we are supposed to practice on the same principle, but somehow or other, we don't have that kind of faith. So, what is the best thing? Srila Prabhupada says, what are the best thing is that to develop this kind of attitude of putting full faith in Krishna, Prabhupada says we should do 5 things. How we can develop full faith in Krishna? First, he says, chant attentively daily. Every round we should chant attentively. That is the core of taking shelter of Krishna. Second, he says, read Bhagavatam daily. Daily one should read Bhagavatam or hear Bhagavatam. At least the Bhagavatam class one must try to attend. Third, he says, whatever we do, let us offer all our work for Krishna. It is best that we stay in the temple, and the temple devotees, all their activities are devoted to Krishna. So naturally, surrendering to Krishna becomes easier. But those who stays outside of the temple, they perform their work, so they should do both the things. They should take care of the family members, plus at the same time take out some time to perform devotional activities in the association of devotees. Fourth, he says, depend on Krishna, that is, reduce excessive planning. Of course, we must plan that tomorrow I have to do this, tomorrow I have to do this bhoga for the Lord, I have to do dressing for the Lord, tomorrow there is certain program. So of course, the planning is required. But Prabhupada says, excessive planning is not required. Atyahara, prayasascha. There are lot of prayas. Prayas means excessive planning, excessive endeavor is not required. So plan moderately and surrender wholeheartedly. That is all expected. And the fifth, see everything as a responsibility given to you. In that way you will not become attached. Whatever we are doing, consider it as it is a responsibility given to me. If you are a manager, if you are a department head, if you are a preacher, if you are a family member, if you are a husband, or if you are a father also, think it as a responsibility. Think it that it is Krishna's seva I am doing, so I am responsible person, and Krishna has entrusted this responsibility upon me. So with a consciousness of being responsible, one should perform all its activities. In that way, we will not become attached to the material things. So that is what Prabhupada in this 2 shloka we come to know. So finally, the final summary of what we had discussed, I'll just try to summarize. If we use intelligence for material life, we become victims of time. But if we use the same intelligence for Krishna, we will be victorious upon time. So that is how these 2 verses gives us the summary. Use our intelligence for Krishna, then we will be victorious over time. Otherwise, we will become victim of time. Hare Krishna. श्रीमद् भागवत महापुराण की जय, शिल प्रभुपाद की जय. Hare Krishna. I hope there are no questions. Very good.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Prabhu, quickly, thank you for the class today. The killer of the soul, you gave you gave the example of the killer of the soul.
Yeah.
So I think you said that the killer of the soul means the killer of consciousness. Could you expand on that a little bit?
Killer of the consciousness in the sense that degrading the consciousness. Just like a human, we get a human form of life after many, many lifetimes. But if we don't utilize the purpose for which we got a human form of life, then again we'll glide down to the 84 lakh species of life. That is called killer of the soul, or that is called killer of the consciousness. That means we are degrading our consciousness to a lower level. If you are given, let's say, if you are given a high paying job of a manager, but we are not doing any responsibility or not action activities as per the manager is supposed to do. What is expected from the manager, if you are not doing that thing, then what will company will do? The company will demote you. He will make you the office boy. Says that if you are not doing any activity, then why should I pay you for that kind of role? You become an office boy then. So that is how there is demotion. So that demotion is called as degradation in consciousness, or degradation in the species of life also. Is that okay, Prabhu? Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.